LSU pulls in another commitment yesterday, right as we had gone off the air. Daylen Austin, a defensive back from Long Beach, California. Long Beach Poly has committed to LSU. He's about to begin hitting, well, I guess he's just finishing his junior year. He is 6 feet, 175 pounds, rated as a 4-star recruit by On3. If you look at the other offers that he had, USC, Michigan State, Penn State, Georgia, and he decided to pick LSU. This guy, to me, fits the mold of the guys that LSU has recruited in past years under Corey Raymond. He's 6 feet tall and certainly could be 6'1" or so. Rangy, long corner, had big time offers. Looks like a really good get, and more evidence that Brian Kelly is going to continue to recruit nationally. I mean, you get Trey Holly from right here in your backyard in Louisiana, but going to continue to use those relationships that he's got in the brand of LSU and his brand, quite honestly, to go out and make it happen.
Yeah, I think that's Coach Kelly's. I think that's a great thing that he's bringing to Louisiana. Obviously, getting that experience at Notre Dame, just not being able to recruit in your backyard, being able to have to go outside of your state and use your whole staff to recruit and find players from different places to fall in love with your culture and fall in love with everything you've been built. And I think for Coach Kelly coming down to Louisiana, not only now do you have your backyard to recruit, now you still have that ability that you gained over the time at Notre Dame to recruit nationally, and I think that's what you see here, ability to stretch those arms out way to the West Coast and get a player that I think can really help this football team out. So I love what they're doing with this class. I think this is the class that we kind of pointed to where Coach Kelly can really do his damage. He's been in the building. He's kind of gotten this roster together. Now we can kind of point to the future and really put together a true class for 2023 of guys that they've been recruiting all along and guys that really fit their program. And I think that's the way they're doing it right now.
Robert Steeples was the primary recruiter here, and look, I'll be very, very honest. As I look at coaches on that side of the ball, position coaches on that side of the ball, it hurt me to watch Corey Raymond leave. I just had so much confidence in what he was going to do, and to have him move on. Anybody else that steps into that role, you're going to be a little bit skeptical of. It's just natural because Corey was a staple here. And Robert Steeples is coaching corners. And from what I've heard from the players and what I've observed on the recruiting trail with the tangible results that have come on, I think Robert Steeples is a great fit on this staff. And, you're filling some huge shoes there. And you can still sell DBU. When you look at all these sites on 3 being one of them, you can see that they're talking about players that have been drafted from that position over the last 5 years, over the last 6 years. It's impressive, and LSU has a great history with defensive backs. And so I trusted Corey Raymond to go get Derek Stingley from Louisiana, to go outside the state and get the number one DB, whether it was Jacoby Stevens or whether you had to go get Jamal Adams or whether it was Kevin Tolliver. All these guys were wildly massive recruits that you were able to go nab. Eli Ricks, of course, being the last one in that crew, no matter where they were. And obviously, this isn't the number one player in the nation or some 5-star, but Robert Steeples has done a good job early on in his career.
Oh yeah, I think for him, I saw his speech right when he got hired, and I just saw he was talking to his team and just getting them motivated and getting them ready to play. And you look at his tenure as a high school coach and just his ability to turn around a program just overnight and. Just his relationship with people. I think that's people's people. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing I've noticed with him. Just his ability to connect with guys and motivate guys, and that's going to work extremely well in recruiting, especially at a university like this. So, yeah, I think that was a big get. Obviously, you lose Raymond, but you replace him with a guy that I think is going to do a phenomenal job recruiting and really, getting these players to play at a high level.
So, LSU's class to this point is in its infancy stages. But LSU is 8th right now, talking about having 6 4-star commitments in this class that's upcoming. So you got a long way to go. But one of the names that has popped up here in the last couple of weeks has been Eli Holstein, the quarterback out of Zachary, who is a 4-star commitment, tested unbelievably well when he went off to summer camp and the Elite 11. He was really good as well. And he's been a Texas A&M commit for a while. He backed off that pledge, and he has spent a few weekends, a few days over at LSU's campus. Obviously, that's a pretty quick drive over for a guy from Zachary. Yep. Your thoughts on if he is a fit in this class?
Yeah, speaking of him, I actually met him and his dad yesterday. Got a nice chance to talk with Eli and his family, and while he was on his visit at LSU. So that was pretty cool to do. But yeah, I think that's a guy. I think, I don't know. I just, if he does come, I think he would have to have uber confidence in himself that he's going to be able to, battle with Walker Howard for that job down the road, because Walker's not going anywhere unless he hits the transfer portal. I think that's something that he's going to have to battle with. But other than that, I think, I trust him as a player. I think he has enough arm talent. He has enough athletic abilities to come to this team, especially in this Denbrock offense. I think he really fits that system extremely well. So I think I'm really worried about that. That's why I kind of don't think LSU is probably going to be his landing spot. But we'll see. I mean, who knows how this thing goes. We got guys in the portal, guys changing, decommitting left and right. We'll kind of see how it plays out. But I just don't feel it right now.
Here's the deal with the depth chart and that position and where you look to play your college football. There was a time where it made a lot of sense to choose wisely as to where you were headed based on who was in the class ahead of you, who the incumbent starter was. Okay, then that you can kind of see the roadmap. Those days are gone. Auburn's quarterback for a 2-year starter, Bo Nix, gone. No, a 3-year starter, Bo Nix, gone. LSU starter, started for an entire year, had 2 years left, gone. Guy who started for Texas A&M last year, albeit as a backup after there was an injury, left. Florida's starter, gone. It's everywhere. JT Daniels was a 5-star recruit. He went to USC, showed up at Georgia, got beat out, and now he's at West Virginia. And so if you try to pick a school based on the clearest path to the field, I got news for you. They're bringing in 2 transfers in the first 18 months you're at school. So you got to find the place that you like in terms of the vibe on campus, the history of the tradition, the coaches that are there currently, even though they'll probably move on over your course of your 4 years. There's no point in trying to forecast a way it's going to work, because you got starting quarterbacks leaving, you got guys transferring in. Arizona State's 3-year starting quarterback just transferred out to a place where there's a lot of quarterbacks. It's a different world in that respect.
Yeah, it's a totally different world, and that's what I said on both signing days. I'm like, I'm not gonna get too worked up like in the past, because in the past, like, you're locked in for 4 years, you're not going anywhere. Now signing days, you're like, man, like, half of these kids are probably not even gonna be at these schools a year from now or 2 years from now, and it's just gonna, it's gonna just make it this day just really not mean much, because you're committing to the school that you're not even gonna finish your career at. So I think that's just the new dynamic of college football. I think, with this just open free agency, Wild Wild West, these kids, man, they have the opportunity to do what they want. And I think for these universities, it's going to be tough, man. They're going to continue to have to recruit their whole roster, recruit their teams, and figure out ways to kind of keep some of this talent on their roster. But for the kids, they're going to do what's best for them. And right now, that's trying to find the best place to start right away. And a lot of times, that's not at the current place you're at.
And so you look at the class that LSU's got right now. They got 3 defensive backs in the equation, which makes a lot of sense because you're pretty veteran in the defensive backfield because of transfers. So I guess the case could be made that they can get to the field pretty quickly. But again, they may just the starting corner for Pittsburgh and the starting quarterback from Washington State may be down here, by the end of the semester. So who's to say? But it certainly makes sense from a numbers perspective. That's where they're headed in LSU with their 6th commitment in this class. Sorry, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 commitment for this class. You would think that there would be more than that, being the early signing period. So I would imagine that over the next 2 months, things are going to be moving at a very quick pace. So we'll be talking to some recruiting experts about all those things moving forward. But news of the day, LSU adds a corner in Daylen Austin from out there in California.
Thanks so much for watching Hunt Hill on YouTube.
Now do us a favor. Hit the red subscribe button below and throw us a like. We'll see you next time.